Hello and welcome. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable, as stated by JFK. However, runaway violence is the precise reaction globalist criminals seek to provoke, whereby it's important not to take that dangling bait by playing into their ever-grasping, blood-drenched hands. Unprecedented censorship, augmented by the contrived fakery of mainstream media lies and propaganda, are designed to goad this reaction. If elected to office, Bill Shorten's ALP Brownshirts proposed donating $500 million of taxpayers' public money to the transnational criminal organisation of the UN, while doubling current refugee intake to 32,000 per year. Being deliberately inundated by refugee swarms will, in the exact same manner as Scandinavia, Ireland and the UK, utterly destroy national identity by deforming into a homogenised, multicultural population mass that's more easily managed and oppressed. These anti-Australian globalist policies emulate the brutal oppression that's triggered the heroically ongoing Yellow Vest protests disrupting France. The Macron crime gang has triggered the law of unintended consequences through exposing the lethal brutality of militarised police using military-grade weapons against a non-violent community. These thug police routinely inflict horrific injury with these illegal weapons. Please note it is not civilian protesters perpetrating violence, but deep state provocateurs, as exposed by courageous independent journalist Vanessa Beeley. International humanitarian and civil rights groups have strongly condemned the savagery of these sadistic assaults, but they are ignored. Meanwhile, Australian white-collar gangsters masquerading as government arbitrarily create punitive laws calculated to inflict the severest punishment upon any and all opposing the increasing onslaught of cultural Marxism. The situation is beyond Orwellian, with truth itself now criminalised, wherein stating an incontestable fact of somebody's physical biological gender can be twisted into a criminal act if that deluded somebody chooses to exist in an alternate reality. In other words, a clearly demonstrable falsehood is defended and upheld by corrupted law. If a deranged misfit declares a BMW car is a Boeing 707 airliner, should a law be introduced to defend that delusion and punish anyone stating an obvious and incontrovertible fact disproving the manifestly ludicrous claim? The seditious and highly dangerous laws are calculated to criminalise alternate opinions, regardless of demonstrable facts and incontrovertible evidence invalidating falsity. So-called hate speech in tandem with political correctness are further contrived mechanisms for stifling free speech while imposing dictatorial censorship. The foundation of law is now perverted into the polar opposite of its constitutionally mandated purpose, having become the oppressive plunderer of the very people it's supposed to protect. Weaponised and unjust statute law is wielded like a spiked club by sadistic Luciferian socio-psychopaths masquerading as judiciary and government. The constitutional role of government is to protect the inalienable rights and uphold the will of the people. But here again, the malicious subversion we now endure is far removed from the purpose of meaningful representation of the people's will. Our Constitution asserts a socially implied contract for government administration to authentically protect the rights and uphold the will of the people in exchange for taxation. This contract is irreparably breached with the Australian government's arrogant contempt for the electorate through unlawfully defying the overwhelming people's majority demand to permanently ban the proven ecocide of fracking. Instead of honouring the people's emphatic will, they donate $8.4 million of public money to imperiously enforce a ferociously opposed gas fracking industry that is resolutely denied social licence throughout this nation and beyond. The same criminal malfeasance of public office enforces the illegal dumping of the neurotoxic industrial waste of fluoride into public water supplies under patently false pretences. This hateful crime breaches the international law of the Nuremberg Accords that strictly prohibit experimental medical interventions without informed consent. This criminal medical intervention of neurotoxic water fluoridation is unlawfully inflicted against the insistent demands of a well-informed community to cease and desist. Rampant tyranny is yet another venomous globalist tentacle geared to disrupt, divide and oppress the people at every opportunity with the specific aim of creating chaos. Schools now impose the depraved child abuse of transgender coercion against the insistent demands from outraged parents to cease and desist this disgustingly perverse brainwashing. This is institutionalised moral depravity. Heavily underscored by increasing censorship, the unrelenting war on truth is exemplified by the barbaric 7-year confinement and torture and now the arrest of Julian Assange, who committed no crime whatsoever. His alleged crime was accurately reporting verifiable facts that a bunch of low-life war criminals and child sex traffickers desperately want concealed. His public-spirited journalism constituted no crime, but rather provided an essential news service beneficial to the world community. A truthful news service criminally denied by the bought and paid for fake news mainstream media crime cartel. His arrest stamps a globalist decreed death sentence upon trustworthy, independent journalism. But it's possible white hat moves are afoot to turn his situation around once he's in the USA. Importantly, people are waking up everywhere, with open resentment pressuring transnational criminal organisations like the UN to now fabricate their satanic, Pentagon emblazoned flags from flame retardant materials so they can no longer be publicly burned. Coursing throughout all of the above runs a thread of unspeakable evil, commanding and controlling captured aspects of government, politics, medical institutions, NGOs, nefarious charities, the military, mainstream media, social media, religion, the police, and the judiciary. How to respond to this encompassing threat is up to each individual themselves. Perhaps it should be viewed as an opportunity to tell future grandchildren exactly how you reacted and what affirmative actions you took in the face of the most diabolical Luciferian threat in all of human history. Thank you for watching.